Hey guys, welcome to another Trade Genius podcast. Bob and Phil here as always. Guys, it's a last call for alcohol. The fuse is lit. Are you going to be on the rocket ride? Let's talk about it.
Trade Genius.
Hey everybody, it's Bob with Trade Genius. Usually I do fun ads. I talk about our service, but I want to be serious with you for a second. We've been helping a lot of people trading for a long time. As you can see here, I want to let them do the talking for me for a change. But most importantly, we want to help you too. If you've not joined our service yet, come check us out, tradelikeagenius.com. Full service. We have a chat room. We have the algorithms for you. We give trades out every day. We educate you. So go to tradelikeagenius.com. Check us out. What you get out of our service is much, much more than what you put into it. And we'd like to see you in the room. Thanks for listening.
All right, Bob. So I know it may seem on the surface we go back and forth a lot, but really we're talking about a micro context and a macro context. And right now the micro context looks like it's time for blast off. We got a lot of charts here to show the folks, but I think the evidence is overwhelming at this point that we're going to have our final blast off here before the real bear market kicks in.
Yeah, look, we've been slowly making all-time highs in the S&P 500. The underlying has been pretty flat. It's been pretty choppy. Bitcoin's consolidating right underneath its all-time highs as well. And we have a catalyst coming on Wednesday. And that catalyst is the Fed. And if the Fed is anywhere near dovish or saying, we think, the inflation fight is going in our favor. And historically, we've been popping out of these Fed meetings, and then we're going to go right into seasonality. Can you throw the seasonality chart up first, Phil? Hey, I want to thank Kyle for putting these in the room for us. We want to talk about it this week. And you can see here, typically you get a dip right before you go to the start of the third quarter. But I think our view is the Fed can create a catalyst that if people are waiting for that dip into the end of the quarter, they may get left behind. And the Fed's going to provide a backdrop of lower rates. And also we have a huge quarter end rebalancing that's coming up that's favoring the longs. And I think we're going to explode higher. And July into September, Phil, we're talking 7% as the average move. Can you imagine a 7% move at this point in time? This is the last hurrah, but you want to catch this last train before last call. Before I jump back to you is that, we talked about all the different sources of liquidity. And here's one that jumped at us. This was in our room this morning too. Thanks again, Kyle, is that we haven't even begun to use up all the stock buybacks that have been declared for 2024. And so there's a lot of fuel from companies. And then when Janet Yellen goes back and she starts to sell the really short duration bonds, the banks are going to have fuel as well. Then we have, people right now speculating hard in the market. Open interest on options keep rising. And I think it's a recipe for an absolute blast off. We showed you guys last week, at least where I think the measured move is going to be. And I'm still holding that forecast by the end of August.
Yeah. And then if you look at the election year seasonality, which is another boost in and of itself, and especially when you have a Q1 that's strong. So if we look at this chart, and if you focus on the orange line, that is seasonality when you have a big start to an election year, meaning that Q1 is greater than a 5% increase. And this is what you get. We had actually a 10% jump in Q1, so big jump. The blue line is just basically isn't updated because it tapers off into May, but we are at that point where that orange line has finished its dip into June and is now ready for that big rally out of June into August, September. And so I don't see any reason why, we don't follow along with this seasonality at this point because of the points that you have just covered, as well as just, generally seasonality effects. Unless you're having a major crisis in the markets and a global risk off event happening, which is more along the lines of Black Swan, you're going to have this seasonality tailwind going into an election. So I think it's all the ingredients are there. Now, I will say this, Bob, and something we'll probably cover this week, is that there's a lot of other things though that are happening, unemployment rate, personal interest payments and things like that have now crossed the signal line. And really the only other things left are going to be that the yield curve starts to turn up, right, and go positive and things like that. But we'll probably see that. But we've already seen the ECB cut rates, right? So that's the first shot across the bow that they're bracing for impact. And the Fed will follow suit, but the Fed will lag behind Europe. So I think that enjoy it while it lasts, because what comes next after this, and it's probably going to be post-election, somebody's going to be left holding the bag. It's going to be time to pay the piper at that point.
Yeah, Canada also lowered rates as well, Phil. So then we're not going to have any choice. And then talking to one of their members in our group, they said there's a lot of stress right now in Korea, in terms of profitability of companies. And I think that stress is going to translate into the United States as well. So we're going to go from inflation is a problem to disinflation's happening to, oh my gosh, it's deflation. And it's going to be the type of deflation that you're not going to benefit from because you're not going to have the purchasing power. So this is going to be the worst of all worlds when it happens. But right now, they're pulling out, the band is showing up here for the next couple hours. And this is your chance to make really good money and get positioned in the fall for, I think, probably an 18-month to 2-year pretty good bear market and economic recession, Phil.
Yeah, it'll be tough for, I think, most to navigate psychologically, because you're going to have this big boost, right? And then all of a sudden the switch gets turned off. So, but if you're paying attention and look at the stuff that we'll show you this week, you'll be fully prepared, both mentally and monetarily, hopefully.
Yes, it's going to be a really interesting rest of the year. That's for damn sure.
All right, guys, let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you would like to jump in the room with Bob and I, head over to tradegenius.co and check out our specials. Otherwise, we'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.
Trade Genius.